stop scrolling for a second, because the penny you're about to ignore might be the one collectors are secretly hoping you miss. Most people see a dark, worn wheat penny and think it's worthless. Scratched, ugly, barely readable, the kind of coin people throw into a jar or drop on the ground without caring. But here's what most people don't realize. Sometimes the ugliest pennies are the ones collectors want the most. Behind the scenes, serious coin hunters examine every small detail most people overlook. A tiny mint difference, a subtle design variation, a rare production mistake from decades ago. When they find one, it disappears immediately into a private collection. No announcements, no warnings, just gone. Every time someone spends one of these pennies without checking, the number left in circulation gets smaller. And the smaller that number gets, the more intense the search becomes. Here's the part that surprises people. A valuable wheat penny doesn't always look valuable. It might be dirty, it might be worn, it might look like the worst coin in your pocket, and that's why people miss them every day. Imagine handing a penny to a cashier, never realizing it could have been worth hundreds, thousands, or even more to the right collector. Maybe you've already done it. Or maybe one of those worn wheat pennies is sitting quietly in your house right now, in a jar, in a drawer, or mixed into pocket change. But if you don't look closely before spending it, before you ignore that old penny sitting in a jar or hidden in your pocket change, take a closer look at the date. If it says 1947, you may be holding a coin from one of the most interesting periods in American coin history. The 1947 wheat penny is part of the famous Lincoln Wheat Cent series, a design that had already been circulating for nearly 4 decades by that time and would continue until 1958. While many people see a simple 1-cent coin, collectors know that every wheat penny tells a story about the era in which it was made. The front of a 1947 wheat penny features the portrait of Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth, making it the first regular United States coin to feature a real historical figure. Above Lincoln's head, you'll see the words, "In God We Trust." On the left side is the word liberty, and on the right side, you'll find the date 1947. Depending on where the coin was minted, there may or may not be a mint mark beneath the date. If there is no mint mark, the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. If there is a small D, it came from the Denver Mint. And if you see an S, it was struck at the San Francisco Mint. Each mint produced millions of coins that year, but the total numbers varied, which can influence collector interest. Flip the coin over and you'll see the famous wheat reverse design. 2 wheat stalks curve along the edges of the coin, framing the words 1 cent in the center and United States of America above it. Near the top rim is the Latin motto E pluribus unum, meaning out of many one. This wheat design remained on the Lincoln cent from 1909 until it was replaced in 1959 by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. The year 1947 came shortly after the end of World War II. During the war, the United States had experimented with steel pennies in 1943 due to copper shortages. By 1947, the mint had returned fully to copper-based coins, and the economy was beginning to stabilize after the war years. Millions of pennies were struck to meet the needs of everyday commerce. Because the 1947 wheat penny was produced in large numbers, it is generally considered a common coin in circulated condition. Many of these pennies spent decades moving through cash registers, vending machines, and bankrolls across the United States. As a result, most examples today show visible wear. When collectors evaluate a 1947 wheat penny, the first thing they examine is condition. In heavily circulated coins, the details of Lincoln's hair will appear smooth, especially above the ear. The cheek and jawline may look flattened from years of handling. On the reverse side, the wheat stalks may lose their fine lines and the edges of the coin can appear worn. But when a 1947 penny survives with sharp details and minimal, where its desirability increases significantly, coins that were never circulated are called mint state coins. These examples still display their original mint luster, the shimmering shine created during the striking process when the coin was first produced at the mint. Another key factor that collectors pay attention to is color. Because the Lincoln cent is made mostly of copper, it naturally changes color over time. Freshly minted copper coins originally have a bright orange-red appearance. However, exposure to air and the environment gradually causes the metal to darken. Collectors categorize copper coins into three color groups. The first is brown, which means the coin has darkened completely. The second is red-brown, where some of the original mint color remains, but is mixed with darker tones. The most valuable category is red, which means the coin still retains its bright original mint color across most of the surface. A 1947 wheat penny in brown circulated condition may be worth only a small premium above its 1 cent face value, but a high-grade coin with strong luster and full red color can be worth significantly more, especially if it has very few marks or scratches. Professional coin grading services evaluate these details carefully. They examine the sharpness of the strike, the preservation of the surfaces, the brightness of the luster, and the overall eye appeal. Coins that receive very high mint state grades can attract strong interest from collectors who are building top-quality sets. Collectors also look closely for mint errors and varieties. Even though the 1947 wheat penny is not famous for a single dramatic variety like the legendary 1955 double die cent, smaller errors still exist. These include doubled lettering, die cracks, off-center strikes, clip planchets, and other unusual minting mistakes. Error coins often attract special attention because they are unique pieces created by accidents during the minting process. If you happen to find a 1947 penny with unusual markings or misaligned design elements, it may be worth examining it more closely with magnification. Many collectors enjoy searching through rolls of pennies specifically to find these types of rare errors. One of the most important rules in coin collecting is to never clean a coin. Cleaning may make the coin appear shiny, but it actually damages the surface of the metal. Tiny scratches left by polishing or chemical cleaning can permanently reduce the coin's value. Collectors strongly prefer coins with their natural surfaces intact, even if they appear darker or toned. The historical context of a 1947 wheat penny also makes it an interesting collectible. This coin circulated during a time when the world was recovering from the effects of World War II. It existed before the television boom, before the space race, and long before the digital age. Every surviving example has likely passed through countless hands over the decades. Today, many of these coins still remain hidden in old jars, coin rolls, and family collections. Most are common, but occasionally a well-preserved example appears with exceptional detail and bright original color. Those are the coins that collectors search for. So, the next time you find a penny dated 1947, don't dismiss it too quickly. Look closely at the details of Lincoln's portrait. Examine the wheat stalks on the reverse. Check the color of the copper and the strength of the mint luster. And if the coin looks unusually sharp or bright, it may be worth setting aside. Because in the world of coin collecting, even a simple 1-cent coin can hold decades of history and unexpected value. The 1947 wheat penny may appear ordinary at first glance, but to collectors, it represents another piece of the long and fascinating story of America's most famous coin series. Before you overlook that old penny in your change jar, take a closer look at the date. If it says 1956 and there is a small D mint mark beneath the date, you may be holding a 1956 D wheat penny. At first glance, it might look like an ordinary 1-cent coin, but for collectors, this penny represents an important piece of the long-running Lincoln wheat cent series that circulated throughout the United States for nearly 50 years. The 1956 D wheat penny was struck at the Denver Mint during the later years of the wheatback design. On the front of the coin, also known as the obverse, you'll see the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln. This design was created by Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the centennial of Lincoln's birth. Above Lincoln's head appears the phrase, "In God We Trust." To the left is the word liberty, while the date 1956 appears on the right side of the coin. Just below the date, you will notice the small D mint mark, identifying Denver as the mint where the coin was produced. Turning the coin over reveals the famous wheat cent reverse design. Two wheat stalks frame the outer edges of the coin, curving upward along the left and right sides. In the center, you'll see the words 1 cent, with United States of America just above it. Near the top rim is the motto E pluribus unum. This simple but iconic design became one of the most recognizable images in American coinage and remained in circulation from 1909 until 1958. By 1956, the wheat penny series was approaching the end of its long life. Only 2 more years of wheat pennies would be produced before the reverse design changed to the Lincoln Memorial in 1959. Because of that, coins from the mid-1950s represent the closing era of the classic wheatback design that had been part of American pocket change for generations. The Denver Mint produced a very large number of these coins in 1956. More than 1 billion 1956 D-wheat pennies were struck. That enormous mintage means the coin is quite common in circulated condition. Many examples spent decades in everyday commerce, moving through grocery stores, gas stations, and vending machines across the United States. As a result, most 1956 D pennies found today show signs of wear from years of handling. When collectors examine a coin like the 1956 D-wheat penny, the first thing they evaluate is condition. A heavily circulated coin will show flattening in Lincoln's hair, especially above the ear. The cheek and jawline may appear smooth, and the high points of the portrait will have lost detail. On the reverse side, the wheat stalks may show fading lines where the grain details once appeared sharp. However, coins that avoided heavy circulation can look dramatically different. A well-preserved coin will still display crisp details and the original mint luster created when the coin was first struck. When you tilt the coin under light, that luster appears as a bright, moving shine across the surface. Another extremely important factor for copper coins is color. When Lincoln cents leave the mint, they have a bright orange-red appearance because of the copper metal used in their composition. Over time, exposure to oxygen and the environment causes the metal to darken and tone. Collectors divide copper coins into 3 main color categories. The first is brown, meaning the coin has fully toned and no longer shows its original red color. The second category is red-brown, which indicates that some of the original mint color remains mixed with darker areas. The most desirable category is red, meaning the coin still retains the bright reddish color it had when it was first minted. Most 1956 D-wheat pennies that circulated for decades have turned brown. These coins are extremely common and usually worth only a small premium above their 1 cent face value. But coins that remain in high mint state condition with strong red color are much harder to find. Those examples can be far more desirable to collectors who are building high-grade Lincoln cent collections. The quality of the strike is also something collectors examine carefully. Not every coin was struck with the same strength when it was produced at the mint. Some coins show sharper details than others because of slight variations in the minting process. A strongly struck coin will display deep lines within the wheat stalks and crisp details in Lincoln's hair. A weaker strike may appear softer or less defined. Collectors also search for mint errors and unusual varieties. Although the 1956 D-wheat penny is not famous for a major variety like the legendary 1955 double die cent, smaller minting errors can still occur. These might include doubled lettering, die cracks, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or other unusual characteristics created during the minting process. Even minor errors can make a coin more interesting to collectors, especially if the error is clearly visible. Many coin enthusiasts enjoy searching through rolls of pennies specifically to find these rare minting mistakes. If you believe you've found a particularly well-preserved 1956 D-wheat penny, one important rule should always be remembered: never clean the coin. Cleaning might make the coin appear shiny, but it actually damages the delicate surface of the metal. Even small scratches left by polishing can dramatically reduce a coin's value. Collectors prefer coins with their original surfaces intact, even if they have natural toning or darker color. Coins that appear to be in exceptional condition are sometimes submitted to professional grading services. These organizations examine the coin carefully and assign it an official grade based on its preservation. High-grade coins that receive top mint state grades can become very desirable among serious collectors. The 1956 D-Wheat penny also represents a small piece of American history. It circulated during the mid-1950s, a time when the United States was experiencing rapid economic growth after World War II. These pennies were used in everyday transactions long before credit cards, smartphones, or digital payments existed. Every coin that survives today has likely passed through countless hands over the decades. Today, millions of these coins still exist, but many are worn or damaged from circulation. Finding a well-preserved example with strong detail and original color can still be exciting for collectors. Sometimes the most ordinary coins turn out to be the most interesting once you begin to look at them closely. So, the next time you see a penny dated 1956 with a small D mint mark, take a moment to inspect it. Look carefully at Lincoln's hair and facial details. Check the wheat stalks on the reverse for sharp lines. Tilt the coin under light to see if any original mint luster remains. Examine the color to see whether it is brown, red-brown, or full red. Most of these coins may be common, but occasionally a high-quality example appears that stands out from the rest. And that is part of what makes coin collecting so fascinating. Even a 1-cent coin like the 1956 D-Wheat penny can hold history, hidden details, and sometimes surprising value for those who take the time to look closely. Before you ignore that old penny sitting in your change jar, take a moment to check the date. If the coin reads 1955 and there is a small D mint mark beneath the date, you're looking at 1955 D-Wheat penny struck at the Denver Mint. At first glance, it may seem like just another common penny, but for coin collectors, this coin represents an interesting part of the Lincoln Wheat Cent series and a time when the United States was experiencing major economic growth after World War II. The 1955 D-Wheat penny features the well-known portrait of Abraham Lincoln on the front of the coin. This design was created by sculptor Victor David Brenner and first introduced in 1909. It was the first time a real historical figure appeared on a circulating United States coin. On the obverse of the coin, you'll see the words, "In God We Trust," along the top edge. To the left of Lincoln's portrait is the word Liberty. On the right side appears the date 1955, and directly beneath the date is the small D mint mark, indicating that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint. When you flip the coin over, the reverse reveals the famous wheat design that gives the wheat penny its name. 2 wheat stalks curve upward along the sides of the coin, framing the central inscriptions 1 cent and United States of America. Near the top rim is the Latin motto E pluribus unum. This design remained on the Lincoln cent from 1909 until 1958, making it one of the longest-running coin designs in United States history. The year 1955 is especially famous among coin collectors because of the legendary 1955 double-die Lincoln cent produced at the Philadelphia Mint. That variety shows dramatic doubling in the date and lettering and is considered one of the most famous error coins ever discovered. However, the 1955 D-Wheat penny from Denver does not show that famous doubling, which means it is a different and more common issue. Still, the coin remains an important part of the wheat penny series and is widely collected by enthusiasts. In 1955, the Denver Mint struck an enormous number of pennies. More than 560 million 1955 D-Wheat pennies were produced. Because of this large mintage, the coin is generally considered common in circulated grades. Many of these pennies were used in everyday transactions throughout the late 1950s and 1960s. They passed through countless hands, cash registers, and vending machines, which is why most examples today show signs of wear. When collectors evaluate a coin like the 1955 D-Wheat penny, condition is the most important factor. Circulated coins often show flattening in Lincoln's hair, especially around the area above his ear. The cheek and jawline may appear smooth from years of handling. On the reverse side, the wheat stalks may lose the small lines that represent individual grains, and the edges of the coin may appear slightly worn. But coins that escaped heavy circulation can look very different. These coins are referred to as mint state coins because they show little to no wear from circulation. A mint state coin still retains its original mint luster, which appears as a bright, reflective glow when the coin is tilted under light. The details of Lincoln's portrait remain sharp, and the wheat stalks show clear, well-defined lines. Another important factor in determining the desirability of a wheat penny is color. Lincoln cents are made primarily of copper, and freshly minted copper coins have a bright, reddish-orange color. Over time, exposure to air causes copper to darken and develop a brown tone. Collectors classify copper coins into 3 color categories. The first is brown, which means the coin has fully toned and no longer shows its original red color. The second category is red-brown, which indicates a mixture of original red color and darker toning. The most valuable category is red, meaning the coin still retains most of its original mint color. Most 1955 D pennies found today are brown because they circulated for decades. These coins typically carry only modest collector value. However, coins that remain in high mint state condition with bright red surfaces are much more desirable. Collectors who build high-quality Lincoln cent sets often search specifically for these well-preserved red examples. The quality of the strike is another detail that collectors examine closely. Some coins were struck with stronger pressure at the mint, producing sharper details. A strongly struck 1955 D wheat penny will display crisp lines in the wheat stalks and well-defined hair details on Lincoln's portrait. Weaker strikes may show softer features, even if the coin has never been circulated. Collectors also search for mint errors on these coins. Even though the 1955 D penny is not known for the dramatic double-die variety seen in the Philadelphia issue, smaller minting mistakes can still occur. These may include minor doubling in the lettering, die cracks appearing as raised lines across the coin, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, or other unusual features created during the minting process. Error coins are often highly collectible because they represent unique mistakes made during production. Many collectors carefully examine their wheat pennies with magnification to look for these rare and interesting variations. If you happen to find a 1955 D wheat penny that appears unusually sharp or bright, there is one very important rule to remember: never clean the coin. Cleaning may make a coin look shiny, but it damages the delicate surface of the metal and can significantly reduce its value. Collectors strongly prefer coins with their natural surfaces intact, even if they appear darker or toned with age. Coins that appear to be in exceptional condition are sometimes submitted to professional grading services. These services evaluate the coin's authenticity and assign an official grade based on its preservation. Coins that receive high mint state grades can sometimes sell for much higher prices than ordinary circulated examples. The 1955 D wheat penny also represents a small piece of American history. It circulated during the mid-1950s, a time when the United States was experiencing rapid economic expansion. These pennies were used to buy everyday items like newspapers, candy, and groceries. Long before digital payments and modern technology, coins like this were a vital part of daily life. Today, millions of these coins still exist, but most have been worn down by decades of circulation. Finding a well-preserved example with strong detail and bright original color can still be exciting for collectors. So, the next time you come across a penny dated 1955 with a small D mint mark, don't dismiss it immediately. Take a closer look at Lincoln's portrait and the wheat stalks on the reverse. Check the color of the copper and see if any original mint luster remains. Examine the coin carefully for unusual features that might indicate a mint error. Most examples may be common, but occasionally a beautiful, well-preserved coin appears that stands out from the rest. And that is what makes coin collecting so fascinating. Even a small 1-cent coin like the 1955 D wheat penny can hold history, hidden details, and unexpected value for those who take the time to look closely.